Missions Pulse. Know God's heart, join his mission.
I'm originally from Alaska, and so really I felt that call to worship and to pray, and well, I guess if I'm honest, to worship. Not so much to pray at the beginning, until I discovered what prayer was, and then I was sold.
Well, okay, I'll pause you right there, because I think this is a thing that a lot of guys deal with, men.
Yeah.
I mean, you say, prayer can sound a little like drudgery at times, right? If you say, hey, let's come to a all-night prayer meeting, how many guys are going to sign up for that?
Yeah, like there'd be like, guys would be like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah. And then like, I'll do my best to make it and be there and then like, make everything happen to make it not happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But an integral part of the storyline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, just the realizing that it's so much more than what I had thought it was and knew what it was. That it's actually how God wants to communicate with me in advancing his kingdom on the earth. And that is partnership. It's partnership with God. And that, that's integral to missions, that's integral to worship, that's integral to everything.
And when you say that, it totally reminds me of a statement by one of the guys at the student volunteer movement. I think it was A.B. Simpson, who said, prayer is the mighty engine that is to move the missionary work. We say that, and we're like, rah, rah, but do we believe it enough to get down and soil our kneecaps?
Yes.
And but so you have this call more for worship, moving into prayer, and then you're in Alaska. How do you get to, what are you doing in Thailand? You're from Alaska.
Yeah, well, I'm still asking myself that question. Yeah. It's been a crazy journey basically, I guess if I could I'll just share. I was in Alaska, and I was looking for a way I always had a passion of recording music and recording worship songs and these different things. I wanted to grow in skill for that. And so I found out about the International House of Prayer through a friend of mine. He's an older gentleman. He's a family friend for forever. But what had happened with him is he works in Alaska, and Alaska's, kind of a interesting climate. And so he goes in these small float planes, these travel planes. We call them like bush pilots and bush planes. To different villages and different communities out in the bush.
Wow.
Where the only way you can access them is on airplanes. And the plane ran out of gas.
Oh, no.
And so they ended up crashing, and he broke his back.
But lived.
And he lived. And so that actually caused me and him to have a deeper relationship because he was really immobilized physically. And I was a younger guy in the church, and he's always been a family friend, but we became pretty close. I would go up and help him winterize his house and just work and help him around he had a big piece of property. And so in the midst of that, he knew about this much about IHOP.
Okay.
I was sharing with him about my passion and wanting to grow in worship. And he's like, hey, there's this ministry. And so, that's basically how I heard about the International House of Prayer. And that's the start of my journey. I signed up for it, went through the university, and then in the midst of that, just discovered not just the worship and the prayer piece, but also the missions piece.
Yeah.
How God's advancing his kingdom. And he wants intimate partnership. He wants worship. He wants prayer. But not just in Kansas City, not just in America. He's looking for it in every tongue, tribe, and nation. And it really just became connected to the Great Commission for me.
I think when you go through something like this, it is impossible not to get involved in that kind of thing. When you dive deeper into worship, into prayer, the mission of God is central to that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So many times we try to, and then looking on the mission field.
Yeah.
They all go together: worship, prayer, mission. You can take one element out, but it doesn't quite work the same. Yes. On mission, it becomes easily and quickly drudgery on the field because you're trying to love these people, but you're not connected intimately to the Lord. How do you feel like that has triggered and inspired you to thrive on mission, or has it?
Well, becoming a missionary really forced me into that reality in a new, fresh way. Because
fresh, is that what we call it? Fresh?
Fresh, yes.
New and
face to face.
Rubber hits the road.
Rubber hits the road. Before that, I was able to spend a lot of time in worship and prayer in a way that, because I was at home, that was part of my ministry. But then coming and joining YWAM here in Chiang Mai and in Thailand, I found myself, in missions as a missionary, doing all of this kingdom work, but having to wrestle the balance of, okay, how do I keep my heart alive? How do I stay and remain in that place of worship and in prayer and do the mission?
I know.
And so that's been really valuable to me because, as I go through that journey, that helps me to wrestle it out and flesh it out.
Yeah.
And actually, I wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for worship and prayer. I think everyone can relate who's on the mission field. Some of the biggest dynamics can be financial strain, can be relationships, ministry relationships, and different things like that. And the first couple of years were heavy pioneering, and we faced some really intense stuff. And it was because of my relationship with God and that place of connection with Him that I was able to make it through that, because my identity wasn't as a missionary.
Yeah.
My identity was as a friend and a follower and a lover of God. And if that's where He's called me to be, I can be there as long as that place with Him is secure and strong. If that hadn't been there, there's a good chance I wouldn't even be here.
Yeah. And when you talk about your identity, I think you're speaking to something that every believer is going to deal with, because we all have our own niche, right? So you're the missionary. That's who I am, man. I'm overseas, and I'm kind of the sent one, and the senders are sending me. But that's not your true identity.
No.
Your identity is in sonship. If that becomes your identity, it's easy to lose the oomph behind the vision.
And if I think I use that as a red flag for me.
I would say, yeah.
Because I think it's a lifestyle, and every day we kind of have to make that choice.
Yeah.
If we start to, and for me, so that's a red flag for me. I'm always aware of that, because I think we call it like missions drift.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden you kind of, after day after day after day of working and serving and pouring yourself out over and over again, you can find yourself kind of starting to forsake that place of relationship, and you're just all of a sudden you're working for God, you're not doing it with God.
Yeah.
And so that's if I'm just starting to ask those questions, like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing this for? And just wrestling with those things, that's a red flag for me. That shows me I'm not spending enough time with God.
Yeah.
I'm working and I'm doing things, but I'm not doing it with Him. I'm just doing it to do it. It's what I was called to do, and I'm not even really bringing Him into the conversation.
Missions Pulse. Know God's heart, join His mission. This podcast is powered by OneEleven Global. Subscribe, watch, and listen on YouTube today. Visit missionspulse.com.